This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Deadly explosions outside Pakistan's main weapons factory have killed at least 59 people. The attacks took place in the town of Wah, around 30 kilometers from Islamabad. Two men are believed to have blown themselves up just outside the gates of the factory. Pakistani police say 100 people have also been wounded in that attack. Jamal has more now from the scene of the blasts in Wah.
The bomber struck when the workers of this factory were returning home. Twin suicide bombings that left dozens dead. The incident happened just outside the complex.
I was in the market and I felt something hit my foot. I looked down and it was covered with blood. I was taken to the hospital and they bandaged my foot.
This is the main entrance to the POF, which stands for Pakistan Ordnance Factories facility in Wah, situated just 30 kilometers from Islamabad now. It was afternoon when the twin suicide bombings took place.
I was in my home when I heard the blast and I rushed to the hospital. Here I saw all the dead and wounded people.
All that was left was the victims' shoes for the families to identify. Although the interiors of this sprawling complex have not been damaged, the bombing sent a stern warning from the Pakistani Taliban, who have claimed responsibility for the attack. They say it is in retaliation to the recent military airstrikes in Bajawar and have threatened to carry out more such attacks all across the country if operations in the northwest are not halted. It comes at a time of intense political negotiations in the country. With the resignation of Pervez Musharraf, there is now a power vacuum at the top, and the new civilian coalition government cannot agree on a new president. There is also division over the issue of the reinstatement of judges who were fired by Musharraf, and although there is government in place, instability continues. The scene of the latest attack in Wah has now been cordoned off, but hospitals are overflowing with the wounded. Over the past year, Pakistan has seen a wave of violence in the border regions with Afghanistan and the Swat Valley. Although the number of incidents decreased when the coalition government opened talks with pro-Taliban fighters, violence has again escalated after a top tribal leader suspended talks in June. This is the second major attack after the resignation of President Musharraf, an ally of the US, in a so-called war on terror, and questions will be raised whether a divided government can find a way of stopping the killing of innocent Pakistanis. Jamal, Al Jazeera, Wah.
إلى تفاصيل الأنباء من العربية قالت الشرطة الباكستانية أن 7
On to the news. Details from Arabiya. Pakistani police reported that at least 57 people were killed and 77 others were injured in 2 suicide attacks. The attacks took place outside the largest weapons factory in Pakistan. According to police, 2 people exploded themselves, targeting the factory in Taxila, northwest of the capital, Islamabad.
ونبقى في باكستان ولكن في الشأن السياسي حيث
Moving on to political developments, the head of the Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz Sherif, has threatened to withdraw from the ruling coalition if the Pakistan People's Party does not respond to his demand of reinstating the removed judges in the next few hours. Many people think that Pakistan will likely enter into new parliamentary elections due to the failure of Sherif and Zardari to agree on the next president.
انسحب مشرف فظهرت التصدعات في التحالف الحكومي فمنذ
Musharraf has withdrawn, and the cracks in the coalition are becoming apparent. Since the resignation of the previous Pakistani president and his withdrawal from the political arena, the parliament coalition that opposed him has begun to show signs of splitting up. It seems that the aim behind the collaboration between the People's Party and the Muslim League of Nawaz Sharif was to remove Musharraf. But now that the previous general has resigned and the objective was achieved, the cracks of disagreement have started rumbling. The two parties share a history filled with pages of political struggle. The situation will become even more complicated with the end of the 72-hour deadline that Nawaz Sharif, head of the Muslim League, gave to his counterpart, Asif Zardari, head of the People's Party, to reinstate the judges that were removed by Musharraf. It is difficult for Zardari to agree on reinstating Chaudhry, who had sentenced Zardari to imprisonment in a financial corruption case. Also, if Chaudhry is reinstated, he will have the right to cancel the pardon that was given to Zardari and put him back in jail. The two parties are presenting several issues on the negotiations table, with each one trying to pressure the other. However, according to observers, it will be difficult for Nawaz and Zardari to agree. This will result in the collapse of the government coalition, which will lead to Nawaz's parliamentary bloc to play the role of the opposition. His bloc has enough votes to bring down the government of the People's Party. If Pakistan enters into new parliamentary elections, it will impose a different reality inside the parliament and the presidential palace. This, of course, is if the military institution stays neutral. Mazan Aman, Al Arabiya.
Today, on the Russian Riviera overlooking the Black Sea, specifically in the city of Sochi, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev is conducting talks with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Their meeting is focused on the intensifying collaboration between the two countries, especially in the areas of military and energy. Al-Assad opened this two-day visit with an announcement showing support for the Russian military operation in Georgia. He also condemned the West, and particularly the U.S., for wanting to punish Moscow. Faiza Alak reports.
There are several implications to the timing of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's visit to Moscow. Most notably, it shows his country's support of Moscow in facing the West due to its conflict with Georgia. In a statement, al-Assad described the U.S. as adopting a Cold War policy. The other definite component of the visit was to strengthen military ties. This information was made public within the framework of Moscow telling Damascus that Georgia used equipment supplied by Israel.
This visit is very important from a political angle as well as a military one. Under the circumstances, after the Caucasus War, if we can call it that, or the war between Russia and Georgia, big problems emerge in Russia's political arena.
أيضا الزيارة هذه وعلى خلاف ما سبقها أعلن مسبقا عن أهدافها. Unlike previous visits, this visit's aims were announced beforehand. Al-Assad expressed his country's readiness to consider positioning Iskander anti-missile defense on its ground, even though Syria did not receive a formal offer. However, this offer has been on the table for many years. أوردتها إسرائيل من أن روسيا تخطط لنشر صواريخ اسكندر أرض في سوريا وفي مدينة كالينغراد. The details came from Israel, which said that Russia plans to spread Iskander land-to-land missiles in Syria and the city of Stalingrad at the Baltic Sea, as a response to U.S. anti-ballistic missiles in Europe. It's as if Syria is sharing with Russia its experience of being isolated for the past years. But what differs is that al-Assad brought along the safety belt that spared him from the attempts made by the West. He called on the Kremlin to turn away from the West and return to the arms of old friends, which looks like another face to the Cold War.
The historical and strategic relations between Syria and the Russian Federation have a promising future on various levels. The following report is about the effects of the Putin-Assad summit on developing these relations.
اجتازت الصداقة السورية الروسية وقبلها الصداقة السورية السوفيتية الامتحانات الصعبة.
The Syrian relations with Russia and the Syrian relations with the former Soviet Union before have passed difficult tests. The two countries have shown their ability to overcome difficulties despite the sad events that happened to the former Soviet Union.
القيادتين في البلدين ثاقبة في استشراف آفاق المستقبل حين أنجزا اتفاقا استراتيجيا وحين عززا الصداقة السورية السوفيتية.
The leaders of the two countries have a strong vision, as was evident by their strategic agreement, which enhanced their friendship. President Bashar al-Assad devoted his efforts to update Syrian-Russian relations in a way that coped with the recent developments in the region and the world. He also kept up with the necessities of maintaining Syria's unique relationship and deep friendship with the Russian Federation and the friendly Russian people.
سوريا هي لروسيا صديق رقم واحد بالشرق الأوسط وبالمنطقة.
Syria is Russia's #1 friend in the Middle East. Of course, as Syrian-Russian relations are enhanced, Syria's role will be strengthened in the region.
تخرج إلى منطقة وإلى دول أخرى.
Syria has played a balanced role. It supports stability in the region. The Syrian role is known. Russia wants to play a role in the region because the American role in the region has produced negative results, as we have seen in recent years.
وتأتي القمة السورية الروسية في وقت تتراكم فيه.
The Russian-Syrian summit comes at a time when many events are unfolding. There are indications that we are entering a new phase of international conditions in which Russia can express its true voice for the first time in modern history. The Syrian leadership has made the right predictions both at the international and regional levels. This has enabled Syria to play an effective and essential role during the storms that have hit the region.
في كل الأزمات التي عاصفت بالمنطقة.
كلا البلدين يعني سوريا لهما دور متميز وأثبتت سوريا.
The two countries play a unique role. Both Syria and Russia have proven that they can play a big role in the region that can't be ignored. Also, countries can't bypass Syrian-Russian relations or change them.
أو إلغاء كما حاول البعض. هذه الزيارة ما يعطيها أهمية أكثر أنها
What makes the visit of the Syrian president to Turkey important is the timing. Syria has been active in the region. There are indications that the situation in the region is changing. Syria plays its role and wants Russia to have a role as well.
وتريد أن يكون لروسيا أيضا الدور في هذا المجال. شيء آخر
The second point is that it seems that the region and the whole world are living at the beginning of a new phase.
بداية تغير معين.
علاقة عميقة ومتجددة ستبقى عاملا غاية في الأهمية.
The Russian-Syrian relations are deep and sustainable. These relations are very important and have a great impact on international relations.
بين سوريا وروسيا تعني فيما تعني.
Perhaps the decision to announce their relationship to the world means that the two friendly nations and countries are determined to strengthen their relations and reassert their roles in future in an area that is full of problems and peace initiatives.
يحظى موقف دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة الثابت والقانوني والحضاري من قضية الجزر بتقدير العالم.
The firm legal and historical position adopted by the United Arab Emirates over the state of its 3 occupied islands is enjoying the support and respect of the Arab world and the international community. Meanwhile, the Secretary General of the Arab Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, Abd Rahman Atiyah, has recently condemned the illegal measures taken by Iran at Abu Musa Island. Atiyah said this measure by the Iranian authorities is a blatant violation and an illegal act on an integral part of the UAE, which is an independent country whose regional safety and territorial unity must be respected. In addition, the head of the Lebanese majority, Saad Hariri, called on the Arabs to stand united in the face of this latest Iranian encroachment on Abu Musa Island.
الجزر الإماراتية الثلاث المحتلة
The 3 occupied Emirate islands, Greater Toomb, Lesser Toomb, and Abu Musa, are still the center of debate and negotiations between Iran and the UAE. From the Emirates' perspective, the islands are legally, historically, and geographically UAE territory being occupied by Iran. The UAE position is enjoying the support and respect of the international community. However, the Iranian position is based on a policy of imposing an existing state of affairs in the region. The Iranian authorities have recently opened 2 administrative offices in the occupied Abu Musa island. One is a maritime rescue office and the other is a ship registration office. In addition, several Iranian officials have recently issued threatening statements, which included serious and negative messages addressed to member countries of the GCC. This news comes despite the recent warmth witnessed in the UAE-Iranian relations, especially during the past few months. It also comes despite the recent diplomatic visits by both countries' officials at the highest levels, which include the recent visit by the Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad to the UAE and other Gulf states, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. Practically, Iran didn't only encroach on Abu Musa, but it also reiterated its right of sovereignty over the island. Tehran further said that Abu Musa is an integral part of the Islamic Republic of Iran. In response to the UAE, Arab, and Gulf reactions, Iran used the same political speech, which evolves around its policy of imposing an existing state of affairs in the region. In response to the violations his country is accused of committing in Abu Musa, the spokesman for the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Hassan Kashkawi, said that any misunderstanding over the sovereignty issue can be straightened out through bilateral talks between Iran and the UAE. Kashkawi further said that any dialogue must be based on the 1971 Memorandum of Understanding signed between Iran and the UAE. The Iranian offer can't be relied on because it contradicts Iran's actions on the ground. In contrast, the UAE policy has been remarkably consistent in dealing with the issue of its 3 occupied islands. Meanwhile, the current stage is witnessing a surge of regional developments that may lead to a full-fledged war in the area with the participation of many countries. This news prompted observers to question the Iranian action. Was it merely a provocative tactic, or was it an attempt by Iran to take the war outside its territories? In another development, the Iranian action in Abu Musa was met with condemnation from the Secretary General of the Arab Gulf Cooperation Council, Abed Rahman Atiyah. Atiyah said this measure by the Iranian authorities is a blatant violation and an illegal act on an integral part of the UAE, which is an independent country whose regional safety and territorial unity must be respected. The GCC, in its 28th summit held in Doha, reiterated that the UAE has the legitimate right of sovereignty over its 3 islands, which include the right of sovereignty over the island's territorial waters, airspace, as well as over their continental, geographic, and economic institutions. In addition, the Arab League called on Iran to halt its unilateral measures on the island. Furthermore, the General Assembly of the UAE Federal National Council called on parliamentarians around the world to support the UAE in its legitimate right over these 3 occupied islands in conformity with principles of international law. The Council also demanded that Iran move all illegal installations it erected on the island.
U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said that Baghdad and Washington are about to sign an agreement that regulates the American military presence in Iraq. Rice, however, said that there are a number of issues that still need to be discussed.
Rice's comments were made after her surprise visit to Baghdad. She will meet with Iraq's Prime Minister Nur al-Maliki. According to senior officials, Rice has been urging Iraqi officials to sign the agreement soon.
دخلت المفاوضات بين العراقيين والأمريكيين حول الاتفاقية الأمنية.
American and Iraqi negotiations on Iraq's long-term security and on economic agreements have entered their final stages. These were the words of U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, who arrived in Baghdad in a surprise visit. The agreement will regulate the military presence of the U.S. and its allies in Iraq after the UN mandate expires at the end of the year. American and Iraqi officials are about to put their last touches on the agreement, which will soon become public, despite obstacles which were made public. These obstacles pertain to setting a timetable for the withdrawal of American forces and the nature of immunity that will be granted to American soldiers and private contractors.
والمتعاقدين معهم. لزيارة رايس مآرب أخرى كما يرى البعض، فإلى جانب كونها سرية نوعا ما ومفاجئة
Some believe that there are other secretive goals behind Rice's surprise visit. Her trip coincided with the recent release of an Arab presence in Iraq, which is an indication that Iraq's Arab neighbors are responding to calls by the U.S. to resume normal relations with Iraq. Baghdad and Washington are poised to sign the agreement. Some Iraqis believe that what was not announced pertaining to this agreement might be more important than what was made public. This deal, which is now about to become law, was stalled during the last period when the two sides did not agree on a timetable for the withdrawal of the American forces from Iraq. In addition, some of Iraq's neighbors are concerned that the Iraqi territories will be used as military bases to launch military attacks against them.
في بعض دول الجوار من استخدام الأراضي العراقية كقواعد عسكرية تنطلق منها هجمات أمريكية.
The Bush administration has been trying to avoid a setback by making sure that these negotiations do not fail and that the agreement is reached before the end of Bush's term in office. He wants to find a legal justification for the continued presence of his forces in Iraq.
وضع قانوني لقواته في العراق. وتقف وزيرة الخارجية الأمريكية.
The U.S. Secretary of State said that the negotiations are almost over, but she left the door open for an American re-evaluation of the situation in Iraq in a way that suits the interests of her country.
بما يلائم مصالح بلادها.
أعلن مسؤول استخباراتي أمريكي أن فيلق القدس التابع للحرس الثوري الإيراني وحزب الله اللبناني.
According to a U.S. intelligence source, the Quds, or Jerusalem Force, which is affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guards and Hezbollah, is training Iraqi death squads in Iran. The would-be assassins are planning to return to Iraq to carry out attacks on specific targets in the country. The training is taking place in the Iranian cities of Qum, Tehran, Mashhad, and Afaz. In an interview with the Associated Press, while speaking on conditions of anonymity, the U.S. official said he provided Iraq's National Security Advisor, Mufakhru Bai, with several lists of the death squad's expected targets. He added that the targets included many judges and other Iraqi officials, but would not otherwise identify them. The U.S. official further said the special groups are receiving training on assassination techniques. He further said that the U.S. intelligence has information confirming that these would-be assassins are planning to return to Iraq to hit targets belonging to the Iraqi and coalition forces. The U.S. source estimated the number of armed men receiving trainings in Iran to be at 1,000. According to the U.S. official, the training camps are operating under the direction of the Quds Force commander Brigadier General Qasem Soleimani, with the knowledge and approval of the supreme leader of the Iranian Revolution, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Meanwhile, the former commander of the British forces in southern Iraq, Major General Barney White Spunner, accused elements of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards of smuggling weapons through the borders to armed groups in southern Iraq. In an interview with the British Guardian newspaper, White Spunner described the armed groups in Iraq as despicable elements of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. He also accused Iran of providing training as well as smuggling weapons and money over the borders to Iraqi special groups, which he says are responsible for the killings of many British soldiers. However, White Spunner doesn't believe that the militias will return to the streets of Basra, adding that the Iraqi army and the national security forces will be able to counter these groups and maintain security and order in Basra.
To continue their holiday plans despite the stark warning sent out by the Counterterrorism Bureau. According to intelligence reports, Hezbollah is planning to kidnap Israelis abroad in revenge for the assassination of Imad Mughniya 6 months ago. IBA's Viva Press has been following the story. She joins us now from our Tel Aviv studio. Welcome, Viva.
Yes, welcome. Thank you, Yochanan. Listen, the security warning was not surprising. It is summertime. It's peak season. And as you say, there are hundreds of thousands of Israelis on the move. But the warning was the most severe security officials have issued, a rare global travel warning. The security establishment knows that Hezbollah is planning to attack Israelis abroad. It is known that there's a serious threat regarding kidnappings, but officials do not know where such an attack is to take place. This is why the Counterterrorism Bureau sent out its worldwide statement. Security experts know that travelers won't cancel their holiday plans, and those at the airport today said as such, and so they came up with these guidelines. Israelis are advised to be cautious of business or recreation offers while abroad, to avoid letting anyone suspicious or unknown visitors into their hotel rooms, avoid staying in secluded locations, and to alter their routine if they're staying in one place for any length of time. While no country was given as to where the attack might take place, security officials said their information is concrete. Yochanan.
Viva, are some countries more dangerous to visit than others in light of this warning?
Look, that's a good question. Nobody actually knows. Some security experts are saying that Hezbollah will most likely target countries in the third world countries, South America, Southeast Asia, Africa. ABC News, on the other hand, reported in June that Hezbollah was already conducting surveillance on Canadian Jewish institutions, on the Israeli embassy in Ottawa, Canada, on Toronto synagogues. Also, Rome has been considered a target, the Jewish community in Rome. Again, overall, the security experts are saying our information is concrete. Israelis must take precaution.
Back here at home, lawyers for Morris Lansky, chief witness in the Olmert corruption case, met with State Attorney Moshe Lador today to see whether they can find a way to get the American businessman back to Israel to complete his cross-examination by attorneys for the Prime Minister. Talansky's lawyers ask for help to obtain immunity for their client from legal proceedings taking place against him in the United States. Otherwise, they said, he will not return to complete cross-examination by Olmert's lawyers at the end of this month. Last week, Talansky's American lawyers informed his Israeli attorneys that he would not return to Israel for his scheduled testimony. This because Talansky is also the subject of a grand jury investigation in America, and testimony here may harm his case back there. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Olmert himself is due to be questioned for a sixth time by police regarding the Talansky affair at his Jerusalem residence tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Erin Coker, a producer of Global Pulse here at Link TV. Today I want to talk to you about our Peabody Award-winning program, Mosaic, World News from the Middle East. Since its inception, Mosaic has held the mainstream media to a new standard, the truth. For the past 7 years, Jamal Dajani and the Mosaic team of producers and translators have worked tirelessly to keep an eye on the Middle East. They bring you first-hand accounts of events as they happen, unfiltered and uncensored reports from Iraq that you would never catch on the other networks. They can do this because Mosaic is completely independent and doesn't ever have to cater to advertisers. Mosaic is an anomaly in the age of media spin, and it needs your help to stay on the air. Just go to the phone and call 1-866-485-8848 or go to linktv.org and click on our fundraising thermometer. Our goal is to raise $200,000 before the fall. That's how much it will cost to keep Mosaic alive and on the air through the end of the year. At Link, we know firsthand that there's power in numbers. So give whatever your budget will allow and know that we appreciate every dollar. Just call 1-866-485-8848 and make that contribution today. When you think of the millions that commercial networks pour into sitcoms and reality shows, and all the advertising dollars wrapped up in mainstream news, Link TV has got to be a mental oasis. 100% commercial-free, quality programming that respects your intelligence and your time. Can you put a price on that? Isn't this worth a few dollars a month? Viewers supported means you, my friend. Please call 1-866-485-8848 and make a donation, or do it online at linktv.org. While you're there, check out the latest Mosaic or Mosaic Intelligence Report. They are all archived and completely free. Please join us in supporting Mosaic with your donation. Any amount helps, and it's easy. Where else on American television can you see translated news from all over the Middle East in one half-an-hour show? Or hear executive producer Jamal Dajani present in-depth insights and analysis? Only on Link TV, because television without borders. That number is 1-866-485-8848. The goal at most television stations is to increase revenue for advertisers, and those advertisers have a great deal of control over what programs you see on those stations. Link TV's only goal is to expand your knowledge of the world, to continue to transcend borders and bring you closer to your global neighbors. Call 1-866-485-8848 Or go online to linktv.org and make that donation today. Be a part of Television Without Borders. We can't do it without you. Thank you.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.